Good evening.
Good evening.
My dear friend.
Your name is?
I am known as Ethereus.
Where do you come from?
The planet of Venus.
Puzzled? Well, let me help. This weird historic piece of film allegedly shows the cosmic master Ethereus talking through the body of Dr. George King. And this is me, nearly 50 years later, standing among Dr. King's devout followers as they endeavour with their prayers to protect us all from some of the disasters which allegedly will precede the end of the world. Now, I don't normally hang around with prophets of doom like most other solid British people. I'm pretty sure the sun's going to rise tomorrow, that there'll be sufficient honey still for tea, and quite enough warm beer to last my lifetime.
6 pints of bitter. And quickly, please, the world's about to end.
Oh, yes, sir. Nice weather for it. Go to the match this afternoon, sir?
No point.
Foregone conclusion then, eh? Arsenal without a chance?
No, it's just the world's about to end.
Oh, yes, sir, so you said. Lucky escape for Arsenal if it did.
I've got another good excuse for keeping clear of the apocalypsts. I'm an editor of New Humanist magazine, and that means I'm supposed to believe in reason and not believe in God. But recently it's been getting harder to ignore all those who disagree with me. More and more believers of all faiths tell us that the apocalypse is getting ever nearer. What's an apocalypse? Well, most religions can't do without one. It's a shorthand term for the cinemascopic disasters that accompany the end of the world: war, pestilence, famine and death. The famous Four Horsemen. But the God-lovers aren't alone. More and more scientists are embracing the doomsday scenario, telling us how little time is left unless we change our ways. Like it or not, doom seems to be in the air. So it seemed time to take off my sceptical hat and go out into Britain to find out what these end-of-the-worlders are saying and learn what they have in common. To take them seriously, even try to believe. And I know exactly where to start, here at this suburban Catholic monastery, because the last time I was a true believer was at my Catholic school. So I know that if you're one of this country's 6 million Catholics, you'll have heard all about the second coming of Jesus and the Last Judgment. But I doubt if any priest will have told you that such events are close at hand. Dom Heron is different. Now aged 84, he's the author of highly respected books which urge Catholics to wake up and prepare for the end, right now. He fervently believes that Catholics are dangerously out of step with thousands of clever scientists and millions of Pentecostalist, born-again Christians.
The whole Pentecostal world believes that Jesus is going to return soon.
Yes.
And they are very vigorous and very growing.
I've come across some people who say that it is the wickedness of the present world which is going to precipitate the second comings.
You see, if you look back in human history, there's been so much awful wickedness. If I were a non-believer, I say this in my book, you see, and I had the courage to be logical, I would say, well, I think this human experiment has had it. Not because we're more sinful or fanatical or wicked than we were, in my opinion, but because of the development of science, wicked, stupid, fanatical men can do so much more harm.
But does he really want Christ to return tomorrow?
My first book I'd worked on a lot and so on, you see, and it was just about to come out. And I asked myself, if Jesus returned tonight, would I be happy, you see? I would have felt like saying, no, Jesus, I've worked so hard on this for so long. Couldn't you wait for a fortnight? Couldn't you a bit longer even, you know? But I recognise that's my total deficiency.
It surprised me to find a devout Catholic, a gentle, persuasive Benedictine monk, talking so certainly about the end. It gave me the impetus to go in search of an even stronger brew, distilled directly from the book of Revelation. The book of Revelation is notoriously difficult to interpret, but here's the basic end-of-the-world plot. First, the villain of the piece, the Antichrist, arrives on Earth. He tricks his way into becoming master of the world. True believers are persecuted, plagues, pestilences and wars. Then, boom, boom, Christ himself returns and leads the embattled army of believers to final victory in the Battle of Armageddon. Then it's fast forward to the Last Judgment, the creation of a new heaven and a new earth, and then, with Christ as ruler, 1,000 years of peace. I've arranged to meet Abby Freeman, a member of The Family, a born-again group which takes Revelation literally. Abby and her movement don't think the world might be about to end. They absolutely know it. Central to Abby's belief is the Book of Revelation's story of the reign of the dreaded Antichrist and his sinister mark, the number 666. What's a nice girl like this doing in a myth like that?
He talks about a one-world government.
Yes.
A government that will have control of the world, that will be headed up by a dictator who Christians call the Antichrist, though obviously he's not going to walk around with a sign on his head that says the Antichrist.
No, not with horns or anything.
No. In the book of Revelations, in the chapter 13, it talks about this government having such vast control of mankind that nobody can buy or sell if they haven't bought into their system. And their system has something to do with the number 666. Most people have heard of the 666. The mark of the beast. Yeah. We can kind of surmise it's something that controls. If you can't buy, you can't sell, you can't have a job, you're very much controlled. Nowadays, there's less and less cash being used. Yeah. Cash is a problem, so we had checks. We went from checks to credit cards. Yeah. Credit cards, we have a smart card. Yeah. Smart card contains a lot of information on you, but still, it's not foolproof. Yeah. It can get lost, it can get stolen. The only way to really make it foolproof is to put it into you. So there's a company, Verichip, that does some kind of chipping, where there's some discotheques you can go to. I think there's one in Glasgow, one in Barcelona, where you can be chipped with this little microchip, and that, I believe, from what the Bible says, is what God is telling us. Don't do it. Don't take the mark of the beast. Sometimes I watch the news and I think this is like watching kind of like a movie, but it's not really. This is all the things that we're expecting to happen. It's the attitudes of mankind, the attitudes of the world, the reaching out for global solutions, the fact that people are reaching out for a global government.
What's fascinating about Abby's theology is the way it yokes together science and politics and religion, how it brings together microchips, databases, one single world power, and that book of Revelation. Abby's only coy about one matter, the actual date of the apocalypse.
Well, I would like to think he would come in my lifetime. Yeah. You never know how long your lifetime's going to be. Yes. So the end of the world can come mighty quickly for some folks.
Not every British prophet has been so reticent. One of this country's greatest scientists picked a very specific date for the end of the world as we know it, a time so close as to ensure that none of your grandchildren now watching this programme will ever reach old age. I've got numbers running around my brain. There's Abby's 666, the number of the beast, and a date, 6th of June 2006, 666 again, 7th of the 7th, the day of the London bombings. Now I'm into numerology, I can find signs and portents everywhere, and I'm hardly alone. This country's most famous mathematician, Isaac Newton, devoted much of his life to decoding the Bible in search of that date when the world would be transformed. And what was the date he arrived at? Don't tell your younger friends. It was 2060. The belief that mathematics could reveal the secrets of the universe has never really died. Students of gematria, the numerical decoding of sacred texts, are still busy with their sums. I turn to Dr. Peter Lee, a mathematician and a statistician, for help. What is the fascination of numerology? Is any of it credible?
I found an article the other day by someone who proved conclusively that the world was going to end. Yeah, in 1998, unfortunately.